What's going on, y'all? It's JD Piquel. Today on the Hard Count, what are the key things that we're watching for Texas's spring practice? Welcome into CFB with JD, the People's Channel for every single thing that you know and that you love about college football. It happens here, happens nearly every single day. Armstrong Sims, Jack McKenzie do the real heavy lifting. You can help drive the show at my Twitter page, JD Piquel. Now, the University of Texas at Austin is getting set to undergo their spring practice just like every other school in the country. In Austin, the song holds true. The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas, and there's a lot of stars set to get ready for spring practice at the University of Texas at Austin. So what are some key things that we're watching for? What are some storylines that are developing and some questions that, quite frankly, we want answers to by the end of spring practice? There's no shortage of them. The first of which being, how quickly does transfer quarterback Quinn Ewers get comfortable in Steve Sarkisian's offense? Now, we did a chalk talk on Quinn Ewers and how I think he fits in this system very naturally. The RPO system is very quarterback friendly. There's a lot of things to like on paper, but all that paper gets crumpled up, thrown out the window into the trash can, just like your bracket and just like my bracket when rubber meets the road and when you get to playing 11-on-11 football as they will in spring practice. So I just want to see how well does he fit in this system, because Ewers, there's no shortage of talent. There's no shortage of physical ability. There's no shortage of, from what we've seen so far, a mesh in that locker room with Ewers. We've seen things from what he's done at Topgolf to him rapping lyrics in the locker room. Like, it seems like he's fitting in culturally at Texas, but what can he do, again, when they put the ball down and play? We didn't get to see a lot from him a year ago at Ohio State. That story kind of stopped before it even got started. So I just want to see how well has he adjusted to the college game. Because like I said, he was a senior in high school living the college life a year ago. I mean, let's call it what it was. Anytime you don't get your senior year of high school, there's no way to sugarcoat this. You're just not yet ready for the college game. And so it's not to say that it couldn't have worked at Ohio State. There were a lot of comments on the last video we did about Quinn Ewers saying, well, if he was so great, why didn't he climb the depth chart? Dude was supposed to be going to prom. That's why he didn't climb the college depth chart. The guy showed up there for fall practice, never went through a college spring practice, and was just asked to compete right away by the fan base, not by the coaching staff, by the fan base. He was expected to go in there and mix it up. I never bought into that. I truly think that there's a lot of reason for him to be the starter at Texas. I think he will be your starter at Texas. I've said this from the jump. How quickly? I don't know. I think it should be day one. Allow him to get in there, take his lumps, cut his teeth. You have Alabama game 2, which we'll learn a lot about this program then. But obviously, the development and the maturation for Quinn Ewers is going to be what everybody and their mother is looking at. The spring game a season ago for Hudson Card and Casey Thompson, nobody really looked like they shined too brightly. Everyone was still getting their feet under them. I want to see Quinn Ewers in this spring game, as everybody else in Austin. I want to see him jump in there from the first snap in that spring game, look like he's got a good head on his shoulders, look like he has a good grasp of this offense, okay? That's what I want to see, and that's what I think we will see from young Ewers. But again, the tape will tell the story. In that same vein, how do the transfer playmakers fit into this system early? You got Bijan Robinson, you got Xavier Worthy. They're staples in this system already. Enter in those transfer ingredients of tight end Jaleel Billingsley, transfer from Alabama. And then you got Isaiah Nayer, the transfer from Wyoming. For Billingsley, the knock on him was he wasn't really bought in at Alabama. There were some, I don't want to say character issues because I don't know the guy personally. I don't have anything concrete to say about him in that regard. There was smoke, which led to fire, which led to him being at Texas, okay? Bottom line, he and Nick Saban didn't really get along. It is what it is. Can he buy into what Steve Sarkisian is doing at Texas? Because remember, at Alabama, when Sark was his OC, Billingsley was that dude, all right? He had a huge season under Sark. Can they recreate that magic in Austin? I want to see where he's playing. I want to see what kind of touches he's getting. I want to see what his attitude is like at practice. How much of a mesh is there for Billingsley at Texas? And how much of a cultural fit is he? Because we're going to get to that in a minute, but how much of a cultural revamp is happening at Texas is something we're also going to be keeping an eye on. For Isaiah Nayer, this is kind of ticky-tacky, but he's transitioning from the Group of 5 game in the Mountain West at Wyoming to the Power 5 game in the Big 12 at Texas. Again, that's kind of a stretch to be concerned about, but until you've done it, the question hasn't been answered. Isaiah Nayer is a freak of nature, has so many physical attributes that you love. We did a chalk talk on him as we did with Billingsley. There are so many things to like about their game, but it's a new school, it's a new system, and it's a new speed of the game. Like it or not, there's a difference in level of play from when you play against the Oklahoma Sooners and when you play against Boise State. There just is, okay? From week in to week out, those are different levels of play. So can he answer the bell against his teammates in spring practice will be something that I'm watching very closely. Again, both these guys are freaks of nature. Both of these guys should be able to translate relatively quickly. How quickly, we will see in spring practice. On the defensive side of the football, DeMarvion Overshown was a player that you get excited about in Austin. He's a guy that had a really good season a year ago. I want to see, can he step up and be the leader of this defense? Maybe you're sitting there saying, whoa, hang on. He already was the leader of the defense a season ago. He already was that guy. He was the guy that we were looking to make a big play on 3rd and 10. Maybe so. Maybe that's true. But you got to remember, this is a new Texas. Okay, I don't care if you led last year's defense. They were 5-7. Okay, the 5-7 is not going to cut it in 2022 in Austin. It's just it's not. If that's the case, you're going to have a lot of fresh faces playing defense. Okay, so DeMarvion Overshown, can you be that leader for the defense in production? But also, can you be the leader in a mentality standpoint? Can you be the guy they look to when things don't go well? Because I have it on tape a year ago. Maybe we do a chalk talk on him in the near future. DeMarvion Overshown wasn't given all-out effort. He wasn't given the effort that's going to be the standard in Austin this coming season. So can we get a revamp culturally in Texas as a whole? Can DeMarvion Overshown revamp his approach to the game? And can they be a team that's going to be aggressive and be the aggressor, be the hammer, not the nail on defense? I think it starts with number 0. I think it starts with him being the leader of this defense in a new fashion this coming year. It all starts, again, in the spring practice. Now, finally, this is something that's not super quantifiable, but it's important to look at nonetheless. What's the buzz around the program at Texas? Because all successful programs, they have a certain buzz about them in the spring. It's happening at USC. It's happening at Miami. Is it happening at Texas? And again, you can't really quantify it. There's not necessarily a metric you can put to it. But at Texas, for them to be successful in this coming year, there has to be a culture shift. And we've talked about that. It feels like ad nauseum, not just this year, in years prior. There has to be a shift in mindset and perspective and in, quite frankly, the decision to, hey, we're going to be a different team than we were a year ago in 2022. So we're going to see what happens there, but there's no check in your spirit with that feeling. There's not a feeling of, yeah, maybe things are different. There's no maybe when you say it's a different program this year to the next. Look at reports they're talking about under Mario Cristobal in Miami. It's a new team. Now, granted, that's a new staff. The staff at Texas is pretty new for the most part as well. Recruits get on campus in LA and they say, hey, this is a new place at USC. Lincoln Riley's got a new program at USC. There's a buzz. You hear that, pun intended, buzzword is buzz, is atmosphere. Can that be a reality in Austin? Absolutely. Will it be? The spring practice will tell us. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see how this program responds. Listen, this is just the way it is. If you're playing football at the University of Texas at Austin, you have a bright spotlight. They wouldn't want it any other way, I guarantee you. That's it for us here on The Hard Count. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at JD Piquel. I didn't say this on the front end because a couple of y'all got mad at us for taking too long to get to the content, so we'll do it here. We really do a lot on that platform that we incorporate into the show, into the channel. So without further ado, we're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time.